Disney Odd Pod.
I'm Kat.
I'm Dee.
And this week, your favorite lovable Volkswagen gets laid.
Herbie goes to Monte Carlo.
From 1977.
I didn't have that written.
Here comes the raciest comedy of the year. Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, where the love bug is bitten by the love bug.
I'm telling you, Paris and women have got him.
He's up to his axles in trouble and head over wheels in love. It's Walt Disney Productions' Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo.
Were you wanting to say Herbie Goes Bananas? Because I was wanting to say
I was
Herbie
wanting
Goes
to
Bananas.
say it. I wish we were talking about Herbie Goes Bananas.
So, I'm just going to say it. This is the worst Herbie movie.
Easily. Thank God for Don Knotts. It's the only thing that kind of saved it.
Well, all taken care of, Jim. Yeah, had a little talk with Herbie. Had to straighten him out. I don't mind having a car that's got a heart, but I will not tolerate a car falling in love with another car.
What do you expect him to fall in love with? A Goodyear blimp?
A Goodyear blimp? Yeah.
Well, I guess he's okay, but I just...
Well, I just like him in anything he does.
I just think
he's funny.
It would have made more sense if Buddy Hackett was in it. Like, maybe there's something missing that we missed in Herbie Rides Again or something, because that's...
I don't think Buddy Hackett's in that one either, though.
Well, okay, then I don't know. But I feel as though this is definitely the worst Herbie movie. There was just so much driving montages.
Way too much. Like, I just barely had to take notes because most of it's either Herbie being a horn dog or driving montages.
And they didn't even have the original theme music. The do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do.
They did some other cut that they decided to use for this one.
Ugh. And I don't really get how we went from this to Herbie Goes Bananas. Like, what about those two dudes in the beginning of Herbie Goes Bananas that have Herbie? And I feel as though they made some offhanded comment about Monte Carlo, but I don't get the connection, so I feel...
They did some really ham-fisted thing right at the beginning to explain what happened, kind of.
I just feel as though I need to watch it again to understand the connection, because...
I will watch Herbie Goes Bananas anytime you want.
Don't understand. Because at first I thought, oh, maybe Herbie Rides Again is in between this one. No, this is... Herbie Rides Again is the second one.
Yeah.
And the only one we haven't seen now, so...
Yeah, I guess that's true, because we've seen Lindsay Lohan's version, which is better than this. Way better than this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let me read the synopsis.
All right.
So, all of the Herbie movies are on Disney+. Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. Romantic comedy, sports, family, comedy, action, adventure.
That's pushing it.
Which part? The romantic comedy or sports?
Comedy.
Herbie, the VW with heart. I wanted to say heart of gold. Okay, so hold on, because we say that all the time. Herbie, the VW with heart, adds some international flair to his lovable personality. Upon entering a Paris to Monte Carlo road race, Herbie falls hood over wheels in love when he encounters a sleek, sporty, light blue Lancia. But also vying for Herbie's attention is a gang of jewel thieves who've ingeniously hidden a stolen gem in Herbie's gas tank. Thus begins a madcap chase across the French countryside that only the love bug could create. Continues tobacco descriptions.
Yeah, the Skrinks.
Yeah.
That's what I called them throughout the movie. I just called them the Skrinks.
They were fine, actually.
Well, yeah, that one guy, I swear I'd recognized him from a million things, and he really... not as much.
They both actually have been in a lot of stuff, both of those guys. Yeah. But it just... I don't know. I was kind of disappointed.
They were just so easily foiled every time.
Well,
it was like,
that's kind of the old trope, isn't it, though? That they're supposed to be kind of dumb?
I guess, but it was just... All the scenes were like, quickly, their plan has gone awry.
Yeah.
Thanks to good old Herbie. And a couple of maybe punches and wrestles from Dean Jones.
That was not right. Yeah. Dean Jones should never be wrestling anybody. He's just... it's not right. So our director, Vincent McEveety, which we talked about him recently with Amy.
Yeah, with Amy!
Which is such a better movie than this. I just don't...
Yeah. Well, and then we'll be seeing him again with the Apple Dumpling Gang, and which also has Don Knotts.
Yeah, and Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again.
Yeah, and Rides Again.
So clearly a lot of things with Disney Ride Again.
Well, and he did Herbie Goes Bananas. I mean, maybe direction wasn't really the problem with this movie. The script is probably... really and it was written by these two guys.
They're kind of a writing team.
They are a writing team because they did some TV show called Bridget Loves Bernie. In the earlier 70s. Well, and really not much else.
Well, they did a lot. Both of them did a lot of late 60s TV, like one episode here. But
that's what I mean. They're just kind of obviously not good.
No, I mean, there was a number of problems with this movie, but...
I would say the writing was the biggest problem.
Yeah, I mean, some of the acting was not fantastic.
You mean like Diane in general?
Wait a minute. So Diane was Julie Summers. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about her first. She was the most unlikable female,
absolutely,
character in any of these old movies that we've watched. She was just angry all the time, and she was kept going on about, you don't like women in racing, and nobody was saying that.
I called her a first wave feminist because that's exactly what she was. She was like one of those that was back around when they were burning their bras and shit. She was one of those bitches, but just angry and stupid about it. Like, what? No.
Nobody was saying anything about that.
Yeah, nobody said women.
Well, do you think this is something to laugh about?
And then yet at the end, when he's like, let's get back in the race, and she's all, no, I'm good. Spoiler alert. I'm just going to stay here with my car. Yeah. Like, what do you... Papali. Just, I don't know.
With her Lancia. That, or at least that's what Don Knotts kept calling it, was a Lancia.
Oh, I said Lancia.
But that's how it's spelled.
It's probably Lancia. That's probably... Well, maybe, though. Maybe he was trying to be like hick or something.
Well, he does have a different kind of accent, so...
Yeah. So, speaking of Don Knotts, so I completely forgot about this movie, this random movie that I watched a lot as a kid. Do you remember a movie called The Ghost of Mr. Chicken?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, my God. It's an old, Don Knotts is in it, but it's this random movie that some girl at some slumber party had us all watch in like second grade, and then I watched it a bunch because it's really funny.
Well, yeah, he is funny. I mean, his biggest things are the Andy Griffith Show and Three's Company.
Yeah.
Where he was an iconic character on both sitcoms.
Yeah, he's just very recognizable in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's the best. He's awesome.
And the return of Dean Jones, which we agreed in Love Bug that this was not his best character.
It's his worst character, really.
And this was even worse.
Yeah. It doesn't work, and this is way worse. I mean, because remember in Love Bug, he kind of had like an attitude.
Yeah, he had some personality.
He was like aloof and kind of didn't care about Herbie as much, and it made for a better movie.
Yeah.
And this one where he's just like, I love Herbie. Like, he should have had a shirt on that says, I heart Herbie.
Yeah, for Herbie forever.
Yeah.
Herbie and, what was his character's name? Jim?
Yeah, his name is Jim.
Yeah, Herbie and Jim. And that's the other thing, I don't remember anybody's name. Because
oh, come on, you don't remember Wheelie Applebottom?
Okay, well, Don Knotts' character, Wheelie Applebottom, yes. It's just like, is that supposed to be a play on Apple Dumpling Gang?
I don't know, but it's funny.
I think it's supposed to be a play on Apple Dumpling Gang. But no, it's just... Ugh. It's so fucking stupid. And then, so I think you're thinking of the first villain, so Ray Kinnear.
No, I'm thinking of Bernard Fox, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, both of them are in a lot of stuff, but the Ray Kinnear guy, so he was Veruca Salt's dad.
Yeah, he was Mr. Salt.
Mr. Salt.
How much anything you want?
I wanted to be the first to find a golden ticket, Daddy.
I know, Angel. We're doing the best we can. I've got every girl on the bleeding staff hunting for you.
And he was just in a ton of movies in the 70s. Yeah. Super, super famous, very recognizable guy.
Sure.
Bernard Fox.
I feel like he's been a bad guy in a million things, but no, he hasn't.
So...
just somebody else who looks exactly like him has been a bad guy in a million other things.
Yeah, this is really stupid, but when I said he's in Titanic, I'm like, oh, who is in Titanic? And then I thought about it. The only thing that keeps popping in is when they're at the dinner table, the fancy dinner, and he's like, yeah. He's that guy that says
I think that's right,
He's that guy. But then also, interestingly, in the show Bewitched, he played a character called Dr. Bombay. And then later...
yeah, that's where I recognize him from.
Yeah, but then later on... in the soap opera Passions, he also played a character called Dr. Bombay.
Oh, he was in Passions? That's where I recognize him from. Because that was on right when I'd get home from high school. And the channel I watched the news on in the morning was that channel. So sometimes it would just be kind of like on for a few minutes before I changed the channel.
Real talk. When I was in third grade, I had a friend where we would get home from school and we would watch Passions and get on the phone and talk to each other about Passions.
Passions is about a third grade level show because it wasn't until 3 o'clock that Match Game or Hogan's Heroes came on.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about it. I just remember watching it. And we were like, I remember there was one lady who was like a witch or something, and I don't know.
The whole point of a soap opera is that you don't ever remember remember what happened before.
No.
It's just the constant keep going forward with the stories that's what hooks you.
But really, Dr. Bombay, he played it in 2 different shows. I don't know if it was supposed to be, that was intentional or not, but...
That's got to be why I recognized him so much.
From Bewitched.
And from Passions.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would catch the last half of Passions because the 2 good shows didn't come on until after that.
Yeah. And then we'll hear him again in The Rescuers.
That's a Disney movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under.
And then I'll just shout out Jacques Mon, who was Double X, the inspector guy. And he seemed to be a really famous French actor, and I recognize him, but I just don't know why.
You know where you recognize him from? Island of the Top of the World. He was the pilot, the captain.
Oh, yeah! No wonder. Yeah, he was really great in that. And he was pretty good in this. He was one of the better characters in this.
Yeah, so. No, he was, because I thought the same thing. I was like, where the fuck have I seen that guy? Yeah. And then I had to go pretty deep in IMDb to find that. Yeah. That's where we recognized him for. Yeah,
the cool captain.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
That actually really checks out. Okay. Yeah. Because when he's out there fixing the prop and stuff.
So did you get any fun facts?
Yeah, of course. Baskin Robbins had Monte Carlo Crunch for this movie, which I just think is great. Anytime they mash up something, but nobody can remember what the flavors were.
Okay, what would the flavors be? Monte Carlo Crunch. It's got to be, I'm just picturing mint, like something, but that's...
Is that French?
I don't know. I just crunch.
I want it to be wine flavored.
Rose.
But wait, what's the crunch, I guess?
Maybe it's. Oh, you know what? It's probably like a butter pecan or something.
No, that's not French enough. Maybe it's got like pieces of crunchy
like macaroons in it.
Crepe or macaroon, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I guess it's one of those great mysteries of life. We'll
never
know.
Solved, yeah.
Well, so if you know, if
anybody knows, let us know.
If your grandmother was at Baskin Robbins eating Monte Carlo Crunch, please let us know what it was. At the end of Love Bug, Jim and what's her face? Carol?
Was that the hot lady from the first one?
From the first one. They're married at the end of the first movie.
Yeah, but you can't tie that guy down.
But now they're just not, clearly.
I guess not.
And the lady from the first movie's in Herbie Rides Again. So something between Herbie Rides Again and this happened.
They got divorced. Sad. Maybe they didn't get divorced. Maybe he just went over to race and he was doing a little bit of tomcatting.
Maybe this is just scandalous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And this is Dean Jones' last Disney movie.
Yeah, I had that one as well. It's his last Disney movie in a leading role.
Well, what do you mean?
He was in the remake of That Darn Cat.
Oh, yeah, but that doesn't really count.
No, it's his last one in a leading role.
Yeah.
So the gas cap situation is all fake because it was established in the first movie that it was in the hood of the car, and now they just change it for convenience.
Well, and it bothered me because if you've ever seen a Volkswagen Bug, there's none of that going on. Like,
no, and that's just what... I don't know. There's a lot of things bothered me about this movie.
And Lancia he falls in love with is a 1977 Lancia Monte Carlo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the name of the car. So let's race through this.
God, well, something like that. So at first, I thought, okay, weird, no intro, because he's like, Monte Carlo, please, and Herbie has a passport, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
But then it jumps into the traditional Disney intro.
Yeah, with the yellow letters and funky thing and like some funky groovy soundtrack that's not the normal Herbie thing.
Yeah. This was some of the shakiest camera work.
It really was, which was weird.
that I've ever seen. It was literally just, like, it was almost like the whole camera was shaking.
All this beautiful French scenery... And then, like, shaky for some reason.
Yeah. It just... Because they're basically just panning over different parts of France.
France and Monte Carlo, which I guess is in Monaco?
Yeah. That'd be fun to visit.
Yeah, sure.
Well, there's a lot of casinos there. I know that. It's like the Vegas of Europe, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because I was like, just kidding. Long driving intro. Because Dean Jones is driving Herbie everywhere across there. Oh my God. And it was very long. Oh, yeah, they're looking to go to this race, and they come up to this constable, and he's...
Yeah, they're lost, so Herbie drives them to the constable, who happens to speak English, just like almost everybody else in this movie.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing, though. I remember when I was in Paris, pretty much everybody did speak English, so that might not be too far off base.
Yeah.
It's when you get outside of Paris, people are just like, oui, or whatever. I don't know. But
okay. No.
That's Spanish.
I don't know how to say that. French, sorry.
Oh my god.
Quoi?
Quoi?
I knew it had to be something similar.
Oh god. Okay. Quoi? And basically the constable like makes fun of Herbie being in the race, and so Herbie squirts him with oil because he's highly offended.
on his boot, yeah.
Yeah, he's highly offended.
Highly offended.
This car, the winner? He didn't. He did.
So, in Jim Buss and Wheelie Applegate, there are a bunch of laughsters.
Oh my gosh, such jokesters.
Every scene with them in the car together, Jim is just driving and Wheelie is telling jokes and laughing where you can see every single one of his teeth.
He is one of those gentlemen who has a very, like, he has very thin lips and kind of a smallish mouth, but his teeth are really big, so when he opens his mouth, it's just teeth.
Yeah.
That you see. So here's what I don't really understand about this movie is that when they roll up to the race thing and everybody's talking shit about Herbie, wouldn't they already know about Herbie?
You know, I think back then, no. Because there was no internet.
Oh, yeah.
You really had to know something to know something
but
like that.
If you're in the racing circuit, you're not hearing all the news about the foreign whatever.
I would say no. Especially from 12 years ago. Nobody's remembering that shit.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Fair. Okay. Fine. Maybe.
Yeah, so they're just a laughing stock. Everybody's making fun of them. And the one German guy driving this crazy looking car.
The Bruno guy?
Yeah.
You mean European Tom Selleck?
Yeah.
He's literally European Tom Selleck.
And then the French guy, who's just like a douchebag and never really quite gets back into the villain role.
No, he just kind of is like, ugh.
There's the one scene at the end where he crashes where he's going like, waving his fists above his head at him as Herbie goes by.
He's raving, actually, in the background. Slow down, Maurice. Remember that video? Oh, and then there's a thing...
Computerized security. It's the top notch. This is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, because there's some fancy jewel that they're transporting.
Some gigantic jewel.
That apparently there's no security watching them put it in the security. I don't know. This whole situation is weird.
Well, no, it's right. I mean, they did everything, but the cop guy had another remote.
Oh, right.
So he's just...
But why didn't he just stop all of the alarms to let them take it? Like, why did they have...
Well, he left it to the two stupid guys who couldn't make out if that last number was a 9 or a 0, so they couldn't turn off that last alarm.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
However, had they just put each code in, the 9 or the 0, it would have just turned it off.
So if they did it wrong, it wouldn't have made the whole thing, like, freak out?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I mean, because if you fat finger it, it's really going to make the alarm go off. Come on.
I mean, if it's that important of a jewel, that is literally the most stereotypical diamond that you've ever seen in your life.
Well, yeah. Piece of glass diamond.
Yeah, I feel as though real diamonds aren't shaped like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, no, it's just like, come on, you can buy that at Claire's.
So these hilarious cooks, they have the same controller. They go in, they end up setting off the alarm anyways and jumping out the window, through the window.
Yeah. And they decide, because they're going to search everybody, they stash the diamond in this random car in the gas tank, and it happens to be Herbie.
It's Herbie, oh my goodness. And Herbie's like, what?
But he drives away with Dean Jones and Wheelie, and our Don Knotts, and the thieves are like, oh no, oh my god, what are we going to do? The car drove away, like I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Right, and he's like, oh, well, you can go see that car where it's going to be parked for this whole thing over here.
Yeah.
So they go over there, and they're going to do a movie presentation. Before
that, though, is when Herbie first sees the Lancia.
No, it's after this. It's... So, when...
Oh, the movie situation is before he sees the Lancia?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Or maybe he gets a brief look at the Lancia here, maybe.
No, I think you're right, because they don't do the qualifying thing until after the movie thing, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. So that's where I messed up. So they go to the qualifying.
Yeah, and that's where he sees Lancia.
Yeah, and so they run in the wrong heat following the Lancia around, and and Herbie getting in its way, and this is where Diane gets all pissed off about him not wanting a woman in racing.
Yeah, because basically he fucks both of them up. They don't make it, so they're gonna have to do...
Herbie wasn't even supposed to be competing.
Right, but so she gets all fucked up because he just is obsessed with her car.
And they give him a second chance.
Okay, so then that's right, because then...
Then they go to the thing with the thieves, and he sees the Lancia, so he backs out of the presentation where the thieves were going to take the thing.
Yeah, they were going to take it in the dark, and then they're like, oh, the car's not here, so they crash all into this stuff. Dean Jones and Don Knotts like, oh, Herbie is gone, oh, da-da-da-da, and they have to run out of there. Apparently, Lancia car also is alive.
Yeah, it's also a Herbie.
Which just, I don't get it.
They have a soul, man.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So he comes on strong, but he's all dirty. So he has to go wash off in a fountain, then she's in love. The Lancia is in love with him.
Well, she, gets flowers after the fountain. Do you remember?
Yeah, he throws flowers at her.
Yeah, and she gets it. And then they drive away because they're parked in front of this restaurant at this point.
Yeah, with the stupid waiter. Oh, my God.
Yeah, the waiter just can't even handle watching these two cars, when really he should just be happy for them and their love, but whatever.
It can't be driving itself. I'm crazy.
There's a weird scene of Herbie and the Lancia just, frolicking through the fields, very reminiscent...
Through a park, yeah.
Yeah, reminiscent of that scene in World's Greatest Athlete where they're running through the park. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
and he runs to the tiger. So fucking funny.
Yeah. So Ocho and the Lancia are riding around in the park.
You feeling better, Ocho?
Then the lady comes out there and she's, oh my God, my car's gone. Oh, who cares about your stupid Volkswagen? My car's gone.
Yeah, my car's gone.
And Dean Jones is all, oh, hey, but you're kind of hot. Do you want to hang out? And she's like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, I am hot, but fuck you, man.
Then isn't there another scene where the crooks are trying to get the diamond out of Herbie and he's like, no. And he just foils their plan, right?
In between that and that, the detective visits Jim and Wheelie. Then, there's another scene where the crooks try and get it, and he's running over their feet. And
oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then he runs away. Yeah, it's just another skink scene.
Yeah, there you go.
So then Herbie qualifies.
Because this is where I was like, oh, Bruno is like French Tom Selleck. Okay.
Yeah, and he does the German shit talk.
Yeah.
Scheiße.
I feel as though that's we've seen that in a few movies already.
Every racing movie we've ever seen?
Because all of the Cars movies and the Planes movie, there's another fancy car or plane that's like, oh, I'm better than you and I have an accent.
Frequently German, or French,
Weird.
Yeah.
And then the Lancia, she gets the exact same time as Herbie. So they're leading the pack.
And Jim goes and tries to explain to Diane about living cars. And she is just fucking irate with him. Fuck you. Don't you explain this to me. I'll fucking kill you. You're crazy.
This is where
stupid.
She's throwing
No. This is before that. This is at the racetrack still when he's trying to explain to her what a Herbie is.
Right. Oh, because so after this... Wasn't Herbie... There was a random scene of him... There's a lot of random scenes of Herbie driving. So
it's really tough.
It's kind of confusing. Yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize. But he, ends up racing through a gypsy camp in the park.
Yeah, but that's because the skinks try and hold him up. They try and hold up. And that's where Jim thinks that that Diane tried to hold her up.
Okay, that's right. Because he thinks that she tried to get him out, to get him...
Well, it was really Wheelie who thought that, but either way.
Yeah, and so that's when he goes to her apartment to confront her, and she's just throwing all kinds of stuff at him.
Right, and then they go to Inspector Boucher to get Herbie locked up for the night.
And that's where we learn that he's actually working with the thugs.
Yeah, we find out that he's a skink.
It's all the way to the top.
And that Fortenoy guy screws it all up. I do like Fortenoy.
I fucking love that guy because he's so dumb, and the inspector guy is just so annoyed with him always. Yeah. But he's like, I'm gonna solve the case, and oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And I think that guy is so funny.
I agree. I did enjoy Fortenoy.
Yeah.
I made an interesting discovery just today, sir.
Fontenoy.
From the sensitized floor to the radar beam surrounding the pedestal to the very pillow on which the diamond rested, all the traps were conceived and executed by one man.
Fontenoy.
No, sir, give credit where credit is due.
So we find that out, and then the next day, when he runs into Diane at the racetrack, she apologizes. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, maybe we could get together, maybe we could get it on. It's like, what? What?
Yeah, it's the character.
Is this bitch bipolar?
She just doesn't know what she wants. It's
yeah,
okay.
I guess not, because he went from being a woman hater to being like, I love you so much.
He's Dean Jones. I mean,
but see, I will say this: that he's finally old enough in this movie where he is not Dean Jones anymore.
No, he's looking a little shaggy.
He's looking a little daddish. He's kind of got, everything's just kind of like, oh shucks.
He's got a few wrinkles there.
Yeah.
But Herbie doesn't show up because the night before they put him in protective custody.
Right.
The Fontenoy guy or whatever. Fontenoy intercepted the inspector, and he's like, no, I'm going to take care of him where nobody can find him.
Yeah.
But it turns out he put him in an armored truck, so Herbie was super late to the race.
But in between that, Wheelie had to tell the Lancia, because it wouldn't leave, that Herbie was out fucking some other car.
Oh my god, it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's awful.
And then him and Dean Jones are like, yeah, you wouldn't be the first nor the last. And so, the Lancia, whose name is apparently Giselle, weird.
At the end, why didn't they just name her at the beginning? It would have been better.
Why didn't they do a lot of things, D? I don't know.
Because it's not uncommon for a car or a boat to have a name. Her name just should have been Giselle from the beginning, and Wheelie should have been calling her Giselle the whole time.
Yeah. But then Herbie shows up out of the armored car, and there's some...
Well, the plan of the Skrinks was to gas him up and get the diamond back.
Oh, yeah.
But Fontenoy, well, he already gassed her.
He's like, I already did it, so you don't need to do it. Oh, and there's like so many weird fucking scenes of the Fontenoy guy just being like,
It's true. It's true. That was his favorite thing. He's like,
He's kind of like a golden retriever.
Yeah,
like,
you're right, yeah.
It's just dumb. And then magically Herbie catches up to the pack again.
Well, he does magically, but they have to lie to Herbie because he's looking for the Lancia.
Yeah.
So they had to do the second lie.
She wanted me to tell you. It was fun while it lasted, but when push came to shove, she shoved off. That's just the way women are. Might as well face it. You've been deserted, jilted, abandoned.
Yeah, to him.
Of like, she just took right off without you, bro.
You know what would have been better? If they would have had like a car confrontation where like them fighting.
I was expecting that.
That would have been really funny, but that didn't happen.
But the whole thing it didn't need to be that way.
No.
They could have just said, hey, we told her to go so that she could maybe win. We didn't know where you were. You need to go catch her and tell her.
Yeah.
I don't know. The motivation thing was just not right, but...
Yeah, and they get off course.
First things, because the Skrinks' plan is now just to wait till they get to Monte Carlo and take the diamond.
Right.
But Fontenoy goes, oh, no, I've taken care of it. We've alerted the police there. We're going to, as soon as it finishes the race,
right,
the cops are going to search the vehicle.
Yeah.
And then this is where the inspector has to...
Oh, tell them to go down...
B.
Yeah, tell them to go down the road.
So they go down the road.
The most tropey fucking thing where you turn the arrow on this thing.
In the coolest helicopter I've ever seen that somehow has a jet engine attached to it. I don't know what that was, but that was cool.
What helicopter?
The Skrinks were flying in a helicopter.
Were they?
Yeah, that's how they got ahead.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that. Sorry.
Yeah, they helicoptered ahead, got into that car after they...
Okay.
Yeah. So they basically direct Herbie up shit canyon. So they go up and do they get stuck? Or do they just stop?
They just stop, and then Don Knotts opens
yodeling.
No, first
he opens the door and almost falls out. That's right.
Yeah, and then he decides he's going to yodel for help, but it starts a rock slide. And then the Skrinks come, and so they start yodeling again, and Herbie's yodeling in his horn.
Right. Somehow stops the Skrinks from going forward and catching them. Then Herbie backs his way all the way down the canyon real fast. Yeah. And guess what? They catch up again.
Yeah, they keep catching up, because it doesn't really... No time has passed, apparently.
And apparently these other cars are moving in quicksand, and Herbie is the fastest thing alive.
I can't even...
Then, this time... they're driving along, and the car Herbie breaks down because the diamond is in the way.
Oh yeah. And
the Skrinks show up again with their gun, and they get foiled again.
This is just a weird, awkward fight.
It's a terrible fight.
It's like a fight in slow motion. None of these people look like they would have ever been in a fight.
Right,
ever.
Exactly. But the Skrinks are foiled again.
And he catches up again. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. How slow are all the other cars in this race? Because the Bruno German guy keeps looking. It's this whole thing if he keeps looking in his rear mirror and Herbie is there.
And then they see the Lancia is crashed into a lake. Mm-hmm. And they keep going. And Herbie's like, no, I'm not going to save her. But then... So then Jim has to finally come clean. We lied. And he turns around and he goes and saves the Lancia. And they save Diane. And then they get passed again, of course.
And they're sitting there after they save the Lancia. They're like, oh, now we're done for. We're never going to make it. And I'm like, you've fucking caught up every other time. Why would this be any different?
Right. And then Diane has to give a speech to Herbie to get him to move again.
Fucking God, I can't even.
So. Now listen to me. Herbie, I know just how you feel. But I also know you're not a quitter. Now, show him you can do it, Herbie. Win it for them.
And Willie has to beg Herbie to let him in the car.
Yeah, and they go, and they are able to catch up again, and this is a long race montage.
Okay, so this last race montage is 20 minutes long, I think.
Yeah.
And it was, because I didn't even think I was going to have to pick my pen up again.
So... I felt kind of crazy because at one point when they went around the corner, they passed, like, the Swiss guy or whatever that was all broken.
The French guy, yeah.
But they showed that twice.
Did they really?
Yes, they showed a broken down car with some angry guy on the side of the road twice.
Oh, I think that guy was in the lead. And so then they showed it once when the German guy passed him, and then once when Herbie passed him. Because they showed a lot of scenes where the German guy was going through something, and then they showed Herbie going through it later. And it's like, wait, why did we need to do that?
But that's what I mean.
Because here's the low-key thing about the racing scenes. This movie is 20 minutes too long.
Yeah,
and they just needed to cut all that shit down.
It's an hour and 45 minutes too long, because it shouldn't have been made. They should have just gone straight to bananas. There's a very dramatic, is he going to pass the German guy? Is he not going to pass? And he does the thing where he goes up and over the top. Oh my God, it's
in the
wacky.
In a tunnel, yeah. He drives on top of the tunnel and passes them.
Oh my God. And so he wins the race. Spoiler alert. Oh my gosh.
Well, no, that's where we're at. He wins the race.
And, oh my God, D. When they're at the very end of the movie, after all of this bullshit, we get the diamond back to the whatever people, everyone gets caught, all this. Dean Jones doing his fucking French accent.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
I was like...
Kat cringed as hard as I've ever heard her cringe next to me. Him throwing it, instead of having him speak some French, which would have been no problem, he throws a French accent off the cab driver.
It was a very Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards doing the German accent.
Yeah.
Like... Arrivederci. Like, it was just, oh, God, it was horrific. It was that level. But yeah, he wins it. They get the diamond back. They do the whole thing of... And
then they have to go... They were out on the town. They got ditched by Herbie and Giselle. And they had to take a cab again to the most romantic spot in Monte Carlo.
That's what it was. He said, take me to a romantic spot in Monte Carlo. And I was like, what? Yeah. No.
And then that's it.
Because, yeah.
But they do see at the very end, Don Knotts is getting it in with the trophy girl from the race, which I did really appreciate.
You like
that? Getting laid. Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's just, this movie was really boring. Like,
it was very boring.
It had none of the funny parts of Herbie.
Well, they spent too much time on actual Herbie, like Herbie doing car stuff. And this is the one part of Herbie Goes Bananas that's bad, where they do that part where he's on the boat. And that, 20-minute scene of him going back and forth with the guy on the boat. And then they do it again on the boat. And then they make him walk the plank. That's the worst part of that movie.
So I kind of like all of that. It was funnier than this.
It was funnier. They did a better job there.
Yeah.
But it's always the least good part of the movies where there's nobody but Herbie and something else.
I probably was a little bit too hard on Love Bug. Because Love Bug was way better than this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But...
Cool.
there was just none of the funny, if you remember in Love Bug, where there's that ridiculous scene where Herbie's trying to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And Dean Jones is like, no, Herbie, don't do it. Like, there was none of that just funny.
And
like,
a lot of parts where, like, Herbie's locking you in, and...
They didn't even have that many Herbie antics in this movie. There really wasn't that many.
Well, the Herbie antics were him running through the park and going on the boat and being a basic horn dog.
Horn dog.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any music.
None.
Like, they could have thrown in some French, like, pop music.
Or, like, romantic music or something.
Yeah, like the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of, like, French pop music that they could have thrown in there. But, yeah, the fact that they didn't even use the original theme music, like, all that racing stuff, they should have used the original Herbie theme music.
It would have been better.
I don't know why they didn't.
And we'll find out in Rides Again if they used it there or not, or if that was just a thing. So in the characters, obviously Jim, this is the worst version of Jim.
Yeah, he's
just kind of he's just like, I'm Herbie's #1 fan.
Yeah, like just...
Yeah, he's fine.
Just meh.
I really enjoyed Wheelie. I thought he was funny because I always think Don Knotts is funny. Yeah. It's the only thing, like I said, that really kind of saved the movie for me a little bit.
He's funny, but I just was like, where's Buddy Hackett? I would have enjoyed that.
I wasn't expecting Buddy Hackett, so I think I knew from when we did it that he wasn't going to be in any of the other ones. And Diane was terrible.
Oh my god. Diane Darcy.
That was her last name?
Yeah, Diane Darcy. Yeah, she was a
bitch.
Yeah, she was just awful. I hated her.
And then the Skrinks actually low-key were pretty good.
Yeah, they weren't bad. But if we had to pick an MVP, it's got to be Detective Fontenoy.
Yeah, Fontenoy, yeah, absolutely.
Because there was one scene, I think it was towards the end of the movie, where he was just making this most ridiculous face and noise.
Well, that's what we didn't talk about, is at the end of the movie, he is just out of control at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he's all like, oh, sir, it's so embarrassing for you, and all this stuff. And
when he's arresting him, he's just being ridiculous.
He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know. Yeah, he's a weird guy, but I enjoyed his character a lot, actually.
Yeah, I did too. The cinematography was fine for most of it, but like you said, the shaky parts at the beginning were really weird.
And there were a couple interspersed throughout the movie that were the same, like the kind of shaky camera work. It was kind of shitty.
You know what that shaky camera work reminds me of? What was the other movie, the boat movie?
Boatniks.
Boatniks had that same shaky camera work.
This movie was almost, you know what this movie kind of felt like?
Boatniks.
No, it felt like that weird movie, the French movie with Dean Jones, with the monkeys.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of vibes of that movie.
Monkeys Go Home.
Yeah, Monkeys Go Home.
Like Monkeys Go Home and Boatniks had a baby.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
That's what this felt like.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't think this movie deserves a Moochie moment.
No, I mean,
there's just nothing like that.
The only funny thing was, like, at the end of the race, the Bruno guy was just like, swine! But that was really the only thing that was kind of funny.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Let's see here. I was surprised that we had a bad Herbie movie. I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was surprised because I'm not in love with the Herbie movies, but I was just legitimately...
I expected them all to be good based on what we'd seen.
Yeah, I just was legitimately really displeased with this. I was not into it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't grab you. So if I remade this movie, I would give it some dialogue and some plot. I mean... Yeah,
and more just funny wackadoodle things that need to happen.
Right.
Like, think about back in the Love Bug where there's the guy that's, he's putting the alcohol in Herbie's thing and Herbie gets drunk and there's a scene of him, Buddy Hackett, being all drunk.
Right.
And, in that race scene at the end, there's like the part with the bear getting in the car and there's all those wacky things. Right. There was no wacky things in the race scene at all.
So in the racing, I actually thought that the love story with the racing could have been much better. They could have been lovingly competitive and...
They should have had a fight.
And teaming up and having a fight.
They built up this whole loving, and there could have been a thing where she, like, slaps him with her door or something. And then Don Knotts could have been like, I can't let him go on like this or something,
See, exactly. This movie could have been good.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
They could have done a lot better for sure.
Yeah. And that was my final thought, is not anyone's best effort.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, sorry.
I didn't see anything. It's okay. Yeah, it just, they had a lot of missed opportunities. A lot in this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't get a budget.
I did. It was 29 million.
They just broke even?
Yeah.
That's all. Oh, wow, I'm surprised.
So am I.
Interesting.
So, Kat, if you had to rate this movie, what would you rate it?
So, I really didn't enjoy this movie, and I know that I was tired while I was watching it, but it was really boring, and I'm glad that you felt the same way, because I was second-guessing myself for a second there. I was like, maybe I was just really tired. No, it was really boring, not that funny. The acting was not very good. The cinematography wasn't that great. It was just not good. So I gave this a 22%.
Ooh.
Or 2.2 out of 10 car boners.
I liked it a little bit more than you. I enjoyed Don Knotts. I enjoyed Don Knotts. That was basically what saved it, like I said. So I gave it a 41.
Okay.
I was okay with it, but it was for a lot of stress. And I liked the Skrinks and the Inspector guy and Fontenoy.
It just didn't do it for me.
I liked them, but but I admit that there was a lot of terribleness. But I gave it the 41. So what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie is?
I know people really like Herbie. Like, people really, really like it. So I'm going to say maybe like a 50%.
So you're close. 60% with the critics, somehow. 60. And with the people, 57. So we just...
people don't really like... I mean, that's pretty low for a people rating. I mean, people just don't really like this movie at all. So hopefully our next movie will be better.
Because we got number 178, which is in the fly zone.
This is in the sweet spot. This is in the 90s.
Yeah, this is probably in the 90s, maybe the late 80s. It's in the fly zone. That's what I'm going to say.
It's probably like 1992.
But number 178.
Wait, is it in the 90s?
It is.
We're going to run out of 90s movies here pretty soon, I feel like. No. Okay, so is it animated?
I'm pretty sure it's animated.
How are you pretty sure with a 90s movie if it's animated? You know,
I'm just pretty sure. I don't know 100% if this is.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because it's...
Wait, what did I say it was? 178?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. That's Muppet Christmas Carol, so we gotta reroll. I was looking at 179 and then...
What was 179?
Homeward Bound.
Oh, no, that's not animated.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We don't need to watch that. We would have another Air Bud situation on our hands. The end of that movie is fucking horrible. Yeah. I can't. Yeah. You're gonna get that.
No, that's why I was like, I don't think that's animated.
Oh god, that's a sad movie. I can't. It's upsetting. That's an upsetting movie.
We got number 69.
69.
Nice.
So okay. Let's get the decade here. Oh, you made a face like you have no idea what it is, so I'm going to guess it's in like the 50s.
No, it's in the 60s.
It was in the 60s.
It's directly after The Sword and the Stone.
So definitely not animated.
Yeah, no.
It's live action, which means it's going to be some nonsense.
It's got to be fucking nonsense.
But it could also be amazing. It could be a new... It could be the next Sword in the Rose. I don't know.
That's kind of where I'm going with this, because from 1963, we get The 3 Lives of Thomasina.
So this is that movie my mom was saying you need to watch
right.
It.
Yeah, it's a movie your mom liked.
There's like a cat in it or something.
Yeah,
I think Thomasina is a cat.
I think you might be right. So this might be good.
Yeah.
Or your mom's crazy.
I mean, both are not. It's not exclusive.
Mutually exclusive. Yeah.
To one or the
other. So here we have a Disney Odd Pod addendum. Turns out 3 Thomasinas.
3 Lives of Thomasina.
3 Lives of Thomasina.
When we were trying to figure out how we were going to watch it, turns out it didn't come out in theaters at all.
Yep. Because it's pretty much impossible to find. Hey now.
Yep, so we have to re-roll.
Re-roll. Re-roll and roll and roll. So now, we get... number 320, which is
That's a pretty new one, I think.
Yeah, we went to the opposite side of the spectrum. Oh, it's G-Force.
Oh, we already watched it. Thank God. I wouldn't want to watch that nonsense ever again. Good Lord.
Okay, so 288.
Ooh, wait. What?
Wait, 288. You got any guesses?
Well, it's in, like, the range of,
What?
Like 90s-ish Disney movies, no?
No.
Wait, what year did it come out?
2006.
Oh, never mind. I have no idea.
No, I have no idea either. From 2006, the movie is 8 Below.
I haven't seen this, but I know what it is.
Is it Sled Dogs?
No, it's not Sled Dogs. It's 8 Below.
Like, just 8 below, 8 degrees below?
Yeah, so what do you think it's about?
I think it's about people being cold.
Really? People being cold? That's what you got?
8 below. It's cold.
Oh my God, it's cold, dog.
I think it's about a family of 8 from Canada who's cold. Or maybe they go down under.
Like 8 degrees below the equator?
No, there's 8 people, and they go below the equator.
Oh my God.
Like down under 8 below.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Is it live action?
I don't know. You'll have to wait and see.
Okay. So, cool. That's your update.
Thanks.
8 below. Yeah. Like, subscribe, share with your buddies.
Leave us a review, please. Do it.
5 stars.
Do it for the podcast.
And if you'd like to talk to us, send us an email, disneyoddpod@gmail.com.
Nobody wants to talk to us.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I actually don't want to talk to anybody, so it's fine.
Go away. But don't, please. Stay.
Yeah, listen.
Stay.
But for now, this has been Disney Odd Pod.
I'm Kat.
I'm Dee.
Bye.
That one?
Oh, wait. Did that
This button got pressed in.
Why the fuck would you ever want that to be pressed? Like, I don't understand.
It's the cat, dude. I'm
No.
telling you.
No. I'm saying, like, when in the process of recording audio, why would you ever want that to be pressed?
Honey, I can't pretend like I know anything about any of this stuff.
Goddamn Neville, you stupid fuck. You stupid hairy bastard.
You fat fuck, Neville.
I just need to read over my notes really quick.
Then I'm going to get some whiskey. Because I don't have a giant glass of wine like you do.
It's no wine, it's rosé. The next one will be our 5th iteration of the podcast studio.
Yeah, that's right. From some clippy mics to the living room.
Oh, I guess maybe it's 6 then. I was just counting the living room as one, like, thing. Because it was like the living room, over in the corner with the camp chairs, over in the other part of the garage.
Yep. Oh, yeah, with that round table.
In here.
Well, so 2 in that garage, right?
Yeah. And then downstairs.
It's an evolution, baby.